G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here and watching this videos while I try to entertain you. But if you are a Springbok fan, you might not find this entertaining or amusing. So, the thumbs down button is below and just, I don't know, thumbs down and mute because I do need you to watch this for the runtime. Anyway, first up, I told you, Nick White is cax, okay? I've told you, he is absolute piece of cack, okay? And Nick, for the first time in my life, I am proud of you, okay? You took the bullet for the country. You have done exactly the right thing, okay? You've taken the bullet, you've disgraced yourself, and you've done the country proud. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Work on your acting, but you did the right thing, okay? In case you didn't know what I'm talking about, or you've forgotten, or you didn't watch the full game, you only watched the highlight, Nick White, he took a dive. Faf de Klerk was trying to swipe the ball in a scrum, and he accidentally mistaken that, hang on one sec. Faf de Klerk mistakenly thought the dirty thing on top of Nick's lips, whatever you call that dirty brown thing that looked like a piece of turd. Faf de Klerk accidentally thought that was the ball and swiped it with his hand, okay? And Nick gets the ball out, right? And he realizes, hey, Faf just swiped me on the face. That's a yellow card. And then immediately went, oh, had a spaz. He had a spaz on the field and took a knee. And the referee's like, all right, we're going to have a look what happened. Something happened here, but let's have a look what happened. So they went to the TMO. And they showed that Faf swiped him on the face. And the referee's like, yeah, well, I have no choice. The law states that's yellow card. And Faf de Klerk gets yellow carded. Whilst the Wallaby was on the verge of getting a second yellow card from repeated penalties. And defend, whilst defending the try line for 20-something minutes in the first half. So Nick, you saved the team, okay? And I'm proud of you. You deserve to be Australian of the Year, okay? I will personally nominate you. And yeah, Nick, work on that acting. Work on that acting, okay? Need you to be a little bit less subtle than that, but work on it, okay? So with that out of the way, I also missed the game because for some reason, for the first time ever, actually not first time ever, I think last time the Rugby Championship was played during the day was during the pandemic. But obviously in the pandemic, you had nothing to do and you're just waiting for the game to happen because you're locked down at home. So for me, I thought the game was at 7:30 p.m. at night, as always, right? As always, the game has never played in the afternoon for so many, decades until the pandemic hit. So I thought we were going back to the 7:30 schedule. So I actually checked the schedule. So I checked the schedule and he said 3:30 in the afternoon, okay? And I kid you not, in my mind, I thought, wow, they're going to have a 4-hour pre-show before the kickoff. So I missed the game. I thought there was a 4-hour pre-show. I honestly thought the kickoff was 7:30 and the time that says kickoff on rugby.com.au was the start of the pre-show. And I was like, wow, they're going to have a 4-hour pre-show before the kickoff. Wow. That was really stupid of me. But anyway, I missed the game, so I had to watch the replay. But I kind of got spoiled a little bit whilst watching the All Blacks game. But hey, I knew the Springboks gonna slip on the banana peel. I had no doubt. And Wallabies played the bomb squad. Obviously, to see if the Springboks know how to beat the bomb squad. Apparently, it's unbeatable. Even the Springboks, the inventors of the bomb squad, cannot beat the bomb squad strategy. And also, the Wallabies seems to play better with 14 players on the field for some reason. Again and again and again, we saw the Wallabies beat England with the 14 players. And the Springboks literally pounded the Wallabies try line for like 25 minutes in the first half, 20 minutes in the first half. Whilst the Wallabies were down like one player, got a yellow card for a play in the bin. Tom Wright gets a yellow card for repeated penalties, essentially. And they were still able to hold with 14 players. Yeah, really, really impressive. And also, Marika Combeni was taking names. And that tackle, again, on Makazole Mapimpi on the wing, I thought that could have been a red card or like a yellow. Like, it looked like a shoulder charge. Looked like he'd taken him off his feet. But, yeah, good effort. Good effort regardless. And I think the referee may have been paid off by the Wallabies. And I'm really proud that we finally can pay off the referee for once, because he seemed like the freaking Welsh, able to give the referee every game, and yet we're never going to be able to afford to pay for the referee. Finally, we paid us for 4-1. We'll finally be able to afford to pay the bribe for the referee and win the game for once. Jesus Christ, about time. So yeah, I felt like that's probably a yellow card. It looked quite dangerous, but the referees reviewed it, said they had a one-arm wrap, which I thought didn't really look that convincing, and it looked like a shoulder charge. And Makazole Mapimpi also was taken off his feet as well. So I thought that was maybe, yeah. But then, anyway, Handré Pollard also got jinxed with his goal kicking. He missed 2 out of 3 goal kicks, believe it or not. After having like literally 100% this season. Again, I jinxed him as well in the pregame. I mentioned that he had 100% kicking, not 100, near 100% kicking going into this game. I think he missed 1, maybe 2 against the Welsh through the entire series. And yeah, so that was a little bit disappointing for Handré Pollard. Like, there was one that was like quite easy as well. So definitely got the commentator curse there, Handré Pollard. And yeah, the Springboks was overly dominant. It seemed like the Springboks, the one thing the Wallabies really did what do you call it? Did do their homework. There was a couple of things that Wallabies did do the homework. Is one, they did notice the defense around the rocks by the Springbok props, maybe a little bit slow, and tend to drift out a little bit. So they exploited that a little bit and got a try out of that. And the second thing the Wallabies did was to really, really, really make sure that the maul was stopped, even at the cost of giving away the penalty. So once the maul was diffused, the Springboks, almost had no other options to score tries, to be frank. It looked like the Springbok, once again, was a little bit reluctant to spread the ball out wide. They were just a lot of tight, close range runs, whilst effective, but they were not really able to truly break through the gang line, break through the line. Makazole Mapimpi, like I said, almost scored. That was the only time they looked really dangerous. And Marika Combeni takes him out. So really, really, really good effort by him regardless. And what else happened? So the Wallabies set piece looked a lot better. Obviously, the Wallabies played the bomb squad, and in the second half, it looked like the Springbok forwards just wasn't able to get any advantage over the Wallabies without that extra forward for themselves. And the Wallabies are really able to just pretty much steadily steer the ship to the win. In the end of the game, the Wallabies pretty much had the game won by the 60th minute, and they were basically like, instead of, they were given a number of opportunities after the 60th minute to kick for 3 points to extend the league, and the Wallabies just went, "No, we want to go for the try to get that bonus point." And so yeah, it was pretty comfortable towards the end, despite that period in the middle, in the first half, where the Wallabies looked like the Springboks gonna just run away with the game and dominate the Wallabies with such a sustained pressure on the Wallabies, not able to score. I do think that's the right decision. Some people might say, oh, if the Springboks just taken all the points, they would have been winning. I do think that the Springboks have done the right thing, because if you have to understand that if you didn't apply the pressure, the Wallabies wouldn't have got the yellow card as well. So then the pressure, it really done the right thing, the Springboks. I just think that the execution was just lacking a little bit there. Let's have a look at some of the stats. Like I said, the Springboks overwhelmingly dominated this game in terms of run meters. 424 to the Wallabies, 266. 3 tries to the Wallabies. The Springboks were only able to muster 2 tries late in the game. Wallabies once again showed that little bit of weakness, like they did against England. After the game is kind of in the bag, they just kind of like let themselves kind of slip, let the mental focus drop a little bit. So England did this as well, scoring 2 tries in the last 5 minutes, maybe even not in 5, like 3 minutes or something. Springboks scored 2 tries in the last 5 minutes. It wasn't anywhere close to beating the Wallabies, but it was something that the Wallabies starting to show a bit of a consistent issue there. We can see here the turnovers conceded. The Springboks probably a bit more than what they really wanted to achieve, especially with their forward pack dominant strategy. 50 turnovers conceded and against the Springboks, only 8 against the Wallabies. Defense, tackle count. Surprisingly, Wallabies only had to make 96 tackles. Despite that, the Springboks had 424 run meters, and Springboks actually had to make more tackles than the Wallabies, despite having lower, the Wallabies having much lower run meters. So the missed tackle count as well surprised me a lot. Wallabies missed 24 tackles. I thought the Springboks tackling wasn't that great, to be honest, but Wallabies was able to score tries. Maybe there's a lot of this came in the end towards the end, but it did not look to me like the Wallabies missed 24 tackles, to be honest. Just the fact that the Springboks wasn't able to score a try till like past the 70th minute. But the Springboks themselves missed 14 tackles, which is much better than last week against 2 weeks ago against the All Blacks, which I think they missed like 20 tackles or something. A bit more than 14 it was. So the kicks in play, again, surprisingly, the Wallabies actually won the kicking game 21-20. Wallabies, especially in the second half, was more than happy to take a page out of the Springboks kicking game. And for the first time ever, not first time ever actually, I've seen the Brumbies do this, but the first time I think ever under the Wallabies, at least, I saw the Wallabies kick the ball from outside of the Springboks 22, a box kick into the Springboks 22. So that's something that Springboks does a lot and get criticized a lot. For the first time I've seen this in the Wallaby team, doing the Wallaby team, outside the 22 into the Wallaby, from outside the Springboks 22 into the 22. And I've seen this done by, obviously, Brumbies. I think Brumbies head coach is part of the Wallabies coaching team right now. Maybe it's a page out of him, but this is something that Springboks does a lot. It did that, and it did that quite well, actually. They found space when they did this box kick, unlike when the Springboks does it, usually gets caught. They've actually found space and actually managed to pin the Springbok right on the edge of their try line. So, yeah, there were some really interesting kicking game as well from the Wallabies in that regards. And obviously the goal kicking, 2 out of 2 for the conversions by the Springboks. Elton Yanshis kicked both of these. 100 Polar, 1 out of 3 in terms of penalty goals. Not really good. Maybe that was also the reason why they actually opted for the goal kicks early, and then the Polar missed a couple. Then the Springboks are like, okay, let's just go with the lineouts and try score for the tries. So that's also another reason it comes down to the decision making. They're not able to Polar's not actually landing those 3 points that they desperately needed for the goal kicks. Lineouts, the Wallabies lineouts, 6 lineout loss. I didn't even realize it was this bad, to be honest. Yeah, I thought the Wallabies defended them all quite well, but I did not realize they lost 6 lineouts. Yeah, I kind of forgot because in the first half the Wallabies was under the pump inside the Springboks inside their own half for quite a long time, and the Springboks was able to disrupt a lot of those lineouts, and just the fact that the Wallabies held on and didn't score a try, I'd kind of like forgotten that actually happened. Man, 6 lineout loss for the Wallabies, 2 against the Springboks out of 8, still not quite good. Usually the Springboks lineouts are impeccable. Scrum loss, Springboks lost 1 scrum, but I did think that Springboks had a little bit more scrum dominance overall. Penalties conceded, the Wallabies really giving away way too many penalties. They were lucky to only give away 2 yellow cards, like I said in the first half. I think Fainga'a was really close to get a yellow card as well. Back-to-back yellow cards as well, that would have been. And that was a cynical one I saw where it collapsed the more cynically. So, yeah, definitely worth the money buying the referee. So I really appreciate all the money that Rugby Australia has been sending to the referee and helped secure this win. So thank you. And so 15-9 penalties conceded, 1 yellow card against Faf de Klerk for the Springboks, 2 for the Wallabies, both for like cynical repeated professional fouls, essentially. 1 for Valentini and 1 for Tom Wright. So let's go through the quick recap, I guess. I don't know what else to say. So a minute into the game, Wallabies wins the kickoff. And this was in the beautiful Adelaide Oval in the sun in the afternoon. Wallabies wins. Maybe the sun has something to do with the players. They did have some talk about potentially the sun was in the eyes. There were a lot of kicking into the sun, so maybe that was the reason. But straight from the kickoff, Reece Hodge played really well under the high ball. Actually, he gets under the high ball, knocks the ball back to Rory Arnold. So Wallabies wins the kickoff to the Springboks, and then immediately finds themselves just outside the Springboks 22. Started piling on some pressure, started spreading the ball out wide a little bit. Tom Wright gets the ball in the wing. He bolts down the sideline, finds himself in space. As he's about to get taken out, which flips the ball back in the field to Fainga'a, who what is it? No, it's flip back in the field to I think it was Philip or maybe it was Fainga'a. But anyway, the Wallabies gets on the front foot, keeps running, gets about 10 meters out on the Springboks try line. Matt Phillip gets the ball. He runs up with the ball, sees Fainga'a next to him, just a little pop off. Fainga'a runs through. He gets tackled. The ball comes out real quick again. Goes to Ala Alatoa. Lighting speed hands, something you wouldn't expect from a prop. Straight to Tom Wright. Immediately, Wallaby scores a try right from the kickoff, basically. And 7 points to 0. I was like mind blown how good this was. So again, right from the beginning of the game, Damien Willemse was trying to do some strategic kicking as well. So immediately, it looks like the Wallabies had planned for this. What's his name? Willemse actually attempted for an early 50-22 and got charged down, it looked like, by Len Ikitau. So it looked like the Wallabies definitely looked at how Willemse is starting to play as like in the outside center position and try to do these kickings and try to shut him down. So Len Ikitau shuts that down. 5 minutes into the game, a high tackle by Petersep Dutoit on Noah Lasio sees that the Wallabies getting an opportunity to kick another 3. This looked like it could be a card. I thought it was a bit of a tough shot on the head. I saw a high shot on the head. But anyway, there was no card. Probably should have paid more money to the referee. But the Wallabies happy to take the 3, 10 points to 0. It was a bit soft, I saw, to be honest. On the 8th minute, Dwayne, the Rock, Vermeulen, gets smashed by Marika Corbett. I did not expect to see Vermeulen gets knocked back on his backside. This was a huge hit, right? I felt it on my TV screen. Okay, through my TV screen on my chair. It was huge. On the 10th minute, the Springboks, Joseph Dueba, gets his first opportunity to redeem himself at the line-out. Not straight. Not a good start. On the 13th minute, the line-out, early drive by the Wallabies. The Springbok line-out Wallabies early drive gets penalised for basically early drive on the maul. Essentially, the player was still in the air. Springboks gets an opportunity to kick for 3, and the commentary actively tried to curse him, and they all had a giggle. They're all like, "Oh yeah, 100 Poller has 10 out of 10 last game. We haven't missed the kick so far in the Rugby Championship." And then they were all laughing and giggling and saying that they're trying to jinx him. And 100 Poller immediately misses this one. And this was a pretty bad miss as well. It looked like he completely shanked the ball as well. It was not even close. And then there was a bit more kicking game. Rhys Hodge really started to look good under the high ball. Like the Marco Zulema Pimpi was trying to pressure him, and he's just able to catch the ball. No issue there. On the 16th minute, Ibn Isbeth gets a nice little short ball to his partner in crime, Lou Diacha, who slips through a nice little gap. And then it looked like the Springboks are going to be scoring a try here. He gets tackled by the bootlegs. He got like literally one of his long legs got held on. I think it was maybe what is his name? Nick White grabbed him by his long leg. And then he was like limping one leg, gets tackled. And then he looks up. Tom Wright gets right on him, turns the ball over. And then Tom Wright gets tackled over the try line, right? Imagine this. Tom Wright turns over the ball really close to his try line, and then he gets tackled in his try line. This looked like it's going to be a 5-minute scrum for the Springboks. But what do you call it? The referee says Tom Wright was tackled high. Definitely worth it. Would definitely pay on the referee there. It did not look high at all to me. It literally looked like, I don't know. It looked like Tom Wright like ducked himself into like a tackle. It did not look high at all, but yeah, the referee says it was high. Definitely worth paying the money for the referee. Thank you. And then on the 19th minute, the Springboks gets another scrum penalty. And this was not looking good for the Wallabies. This was another easy kick for the Pollard. This was, 20 meters out, a bit of an angle, and he missed again. Shanks it again, in fact. 22nd minute, Nick White gets penalized for blocking a kicker from a high ball. Not really a block. It looked like he kind of shifted a little bit, but I thought the referee probably wanted to clamp down on that a little bit. There was a lot of complaint online about it. So, yeah, the 100 Poller gets another shot to take 3 points. Then this time, right in the center, dead straight. 20, just outside of 22, right? And he gets this one. Finally, 10 points to 3. Wallabies had a penalty somewhere before this. I completely missed 6. Anyway, 10 points to 3. 100 Pollard gets his first goal after missing 2. On the 23rd minute, there was a bit of a weightlifting going on for the Springboks right from the kickoff. The ball goes over. Malcolm Marx lifts up Peter Steve du Toit, and du Toit reaches back, right? And he completely missed the ball. And then he like flips over. Imagine that he can lift up, right? And then he gets completely lifts over. And then Malcolm Mark just holds him up while he's like upside down behind him. It was one of the most bizarre things you're gonna see in rugby. Like he just holds him up as he like completely flicks over and holds him like upside down, right? Like there's just huge men there's huge men just like hold this huge huge man being held by another huge man upside down in the air. Just quite one of those weirdest things that you're gonna see. And that happened. On the 25th minute, the Springboks gets a 5-meter line out. The Wallabies gets penalized again for engaging the more early again. On the 26th minute, the Springboks line out goes for a line out again. Wallabies managed to steal it, but they actually jumped up to challenge this line out and pat the ball back into their own goal area. Ibn Isbeth almost gets his hand on the ball, but Nick White grounds the ball before the Springboks. So the Springboks gets a 5-meter scrum. Scary times. Gets penalised again. Oh yeah, sorry, not penalised again. Gets a water break before the scrum gets packed. I thought this water break was really, really bad, poorly timed. And they should really get rid of it, because the water break stifled the Springboks momentum quite a bit here, I felt like. But anyway, Springbok goes to a scrum. Scrum gets penalised again. Vermeulen takes a quick tap. Tom Wright runs in, tackles him. Yellow card. Repeated penalties. Way too many penalties. Tom Wright gets yellow carded. But anyway, following this yellow card, the Wallabies were still able to hold on. And eventually, despite having a play in the bin, the Wallabies was able to defuse the situation, managed to get themselves out of, not really out of trouble, but kicks the ball out, steal the ball, kicks the ball out. But then immediately, the Wallabies tries to run the ball out of their own half. Dwayne, the Ruck, Vermeulen, steals the ball and turns the ball over. And immediately the Springboks is attacking again inside the Wallabies half, looking dangerous once again in the front foot. They throw the ball out wide, looking like they try to find some space out wide. Very rarely do they go out wide, actually. And maybe this is why. Lukamyu tries to pass to, I think it was Willemse out wide, but he just throws the ball out to the sidebound. He passes to the referee on the sideline. So yeah, it was a bit disappointing. On the 33rd minute, the Wallabies gets a line-out throw from this. Not straight. Yeah, I forgot about this. Not straight. Line out, not straight. And immediately, the Springboks is back in the front foot. Inside the Wallabies half, following this line out, not straight. So the Springboks starts attack. The Springboks, I think, set up a scrum. I might have got a scrum penalty again. But I think there was an offside or something. But anyway, Springboks gets a penalty. Soon after, they kick the penalty out for a 5-meter line out. Again, this was a penalty that can be kicked for a goal. The Maul did not go well this time. They did not get anywhere forward. Henry Pollard gets the ball. He tries for a pass, gets knocked down, it looked like. But anyway, the ball gets fumbled on the ground. Tom Wright gets caught offside. So referee gives another warning. So the Springboks goes for another line out. They kick the ball out. Rinse and repeat, another line out more. Wallabies, Faianga, it looked like this Maul was going really well for the Springboks. Faianga enters from the side and kills the Maul. I thought this was a yellow card. I really thought he was gone. And the referee gives another warning, no yellow card. Money well worth spent. Really, really good. I'm really glad you pay some good money on this referee and saves Faianga from being yellow carded here. This was money well spent. Money well spent, Rugby Australia. 36th minute, another 5-meter line out for the Springboks. The Maul gets held. They decide to spread ball out wide, and it looked like the Springboks surely will go through. With the play in the bin against the Wallabies, there was wide space out wide on the wing. They quickly spread the ball out wide to Makazulu Mapimpi, sprints down the sideline at full speed, and then you just see this yellow dot on the screen coming across. Bam! Huge hit from Marika Kornbedi. He ran from the blindside wing all the way across the field to the open side at full speed. Takes out Makazulu Mapimpi just before the try line. Looked like a shoulder charge to me. Again, referee said it was okay. Tried to wrap, one arm maybe. And despite that, Makazulu Mapimpi looked like he got taken off his feet as well. Referee said it was okay. Money well spent. And no try. So that was a huge try-saving tackle regardless. That was a massive, massive effort. So the... what do you call it? The Wallabies gets a scrum 5 minutes out from this. Faf de Klerk tries to swipe the dirty thing on Nick White's upper lip off his face. Nick White takes a dive. Referee says, "Yep, that's a yellow card. Well spent, money well spent." We bought the referee for real good this game. Faf de Klerk gets yellow carded. gets sent to the bin. So halftime, despite basically after that, I think the Wallabies managed to clear the. I can't even remember what happened there, but anyway, Wallabies were able to go into halftime unscathed without scoring, without South Africa scoring a try, despite defending the try line with 14 players for a large part of the, for the last 10 minutes or so. On the second half starts, there was a lot of a kicking game for both teams. The Wallabies scrum gets a scrum on the 46th minute. This just like something that you clearly can tell the Wallabies been practice. A nice little set piece play. Nick White gets the ball, throws a long pass to Tom Wright. He runs down the wing, flicks the ball back in field, and Ikitau gets the ball and he runs. He just runs. He flicks it back in field, keeps the ball alive. The Wallabies ran a few more phases. The ball goes to center field. Ikitau gets the ball, carves up the space in the center field once again, kind of like what we saw Samu Karevi did in the first test against the Springbok last year. Carves straight through that 12-13 channel, straight through, and then he gets tackled just a bit short. The ball comes out real quick, goes to Murikan Korombeti. He runs at 100 Pollard. Pollard just went, I don't know what, no one knows what happened. The commentator said it looked like 100 Pollard got shot down by a sniper. I don't know. Maybe he got scared because it was Korombeti. I think that's my prediction because you saw what happened to Makazula Mapimpi. He was like, I ain't want to do with that. And so he kind of went down. And then he just... Korombeti just runs through this huge gap, goes straight through, try time. Wallabies, 15 points to 3, gets up. I couldn't believe how Wallabies could be 15 points to 3 up 46 minutes into the second half. On the 52nd minute, there was a no one tackle penalty against the Wallabies. So the Springboks, again, goes for a line out. They set up a maul again. The Wallabies stuff this one, turns it over. They basically wraps it up. Ball's not coming out. Turnover. Yeah, so this was one time where the Wallabies defense, on the maul actually worked out. There was quite an aggressive, pounce on the maul as well. There's something that they've definitely been training and they just haven't been getting the timing right early in the game, which led to all the penalties. But this time they timed it perfectly. They just pounced on the maul aggressively and just completely wrapped it up immediately, brought it down. And it was really good defense. On the 56th minute, another just absolutely spectacular, sublime try by the Wallabies. Again, something that clearly they've done their homework, realizing the gap around the rock area. So basically, they set it up. Nick White passes the ball to Jem Slipper. And nobody was expecting Jem Slipper to do this. Jem Slipper, it looked like he was going to send it back to Nick White. So the players defending the rock started drifting out. I think it was Kitsov, start drifting outwards. Or started to kind of run at, start drifting outwards because they were expecting Nick White to loop around behind Slipper. And Slipper just threw back inside. Lola Seal was running in straight into that gap where Kitsop has been drifting out. That's created. Just run straight through Lola Seal. This looked absolutely spectacular. He ran through. He had Tom Wright in support on his right. Just a little fancy back flick. Bit of a what do you call it? What is it? What do they call it? Paying a tribute to Quake Cooper. Bit of a backslip straight into the hands of McRae. Goes in for the try. It was just so beautiful. Mwah, mwah. That backflip, oh man, everything was just worked like a charm. This was amazing. Wallabies suddenly ticked up 22 points to 3. And I could not believe the score. At this point, I thought the Springboks surely would have scored a try before this by now. So the Springboks, the nightmare kind of continues a little bit for the Springboks. Huaga Smith knocks on the ball. Wallabies really starting to like enjoy themselves at this point. Everybody's like laughing and smiling. It's pretty noticeable. The Wallabies were having a good time out there at the moment. Francois Stang is on the field at the moment. He's having a bit of a tough time. There was a kick downfield to Francois Stang. He drops the ball. Like the ball literally bounced pretty awkwardly. He tries to like reach back and catches over his head. Reach back and try to catches it, and then he drops the ball. On the 63rd minute, Wallabies, following this drop ball, they go for a scrum. They started building some faces. The Springboks gets penalized for not rolling away at the breakdown. Wallabies takes the 3. Suddenly the scoreboard, 25 points to 3. 60. I can't believe this score. I was like, my dream of the Wallabies beating the Springboks by 30 points is about to come true. They were only like a bit away to actually increase the lead by 30. And so finally, in the last 15 minutes or so, the Springboks starting to show some more urgency again. On the 65th minute, the Springboks was pounding the Wallabies try line. They get penalized for one of the two players runs into each other, gets penalized for obstruction. 67th minute, Wildkard Smith gets gives a penalty at the breakdown. Got a little bit too over, overzealous. Wallabies could have kicked for 3, but goes for a line out. But then, that wasn't, the line out gets spoiled. Springboks managed to get a scrum out of that from a lock on. The Wallabies bomb squad starting to get on the field at the moment, and it really starting to show. The Wallabies are really piling onto the breakdown a bit, pressuring the Springboks, disrupting the ball as much as they can to slow the ball down. So it was really, really good to see. On the 69th minute, the Wallabies did a bit of took a page out of the Springboks kicking. I noted here, kicked the ball from outside the 22 into the 22, but they did find space with this box kick, so he actually worked out quite well. The Springboks the ball didn't go out. Basically, like stopped on the Springboks like try line. Essentially, the Springboks had to defuse this from just outside their own try area. On the 70th minute, the Wallabies started to look a bit sloppy now. Tupou gets on the field. He drops the ball. Tries to run the ball and drops the ball. I think he drops the ball twice actually. On the 72nd minute, the Springboks starting to look a bit tired. There's a shot of a Lou Diacha. He literally had foam come out of his mouth. This looked quite disgusting, like white foam that's coming out of his mouth. This looked gross. Literally foaming out of his mouth at the moment, at this point of the game. The Springboks finally gets, again, on the 70, after this Diaga shot, on the 73rd minute, the Springboks finally gets on the front foot, attacking again. They get a penalty. They take a quick tap, start pounding the Wallabies again. The Wallabies manages to, Francois Stang gets the ball out wide. He runs into Wallabies and overcommits himself, and Wallabies turns the ball over. So then the Wallabies decides to run the ball out of their own 22 because they're winning by so much. They didn't care, so they just start running the ball out of the 22. And after about like 5 phases or 6 phases, Sia Khaleesi turns the ball over, and then suddenly the Springboks is attacking again just outside the Wallabies 22. Out of all the people that could be making a line break, Vincent Koch gets the ball, pummels himself through a gap. He links up with Wildkard Smith, who runs in for the first try for the Springboks on the 74th minute. Okay? Then after the try was scored, there was a really weird moment as well. So during this whole interperiod of play, there was one point where one of the Springboks players was trying to pass the ball back off the ground, and Nola Seal knocks the ball down, like backwards, and it looked like the ball had gone forward, but it was kind of weird because it is, so it's kind of difficult to judge this one, because the motion is backwards, but the ball ricocheted like forward, and he was also running backwards as well, the ball ricocheted forward, so I don't know how to judge this, because it's obviously, the ball did go forward, but his movement was backwards. So that's basically what the referee said. Again, I'm really glad we finally paid the referee this time. The referee says that's fine, so no yellow card. But I thought that was, probably, that was a bit of a stretch for a yellow card anyway. Because like with passing as well, if even the ball goes forward, if the ball comes out a hand backwards, it's still considered what is it? A legal pass. So yeah. So basically, the referee said that was okay. So let's quickly finish this off now. On the so on the 78th minute, basically the Springboks had one last-ditch effort to try to score a try. The Springboks once again found some space out wide with a lot of speed, starting to pick up in the game as well, feeling a bit desperate. Ibn Isbeth runs himself through a gap and looking quite dangerous. Springboks building faces inside the Wallabies 22 following this run, just pounding. I think it was 22 phases later. They get a penalty again. The Wallabies, the Springboks takes a quick tab. Wallabies, Rob Van Attili makes the tackle. Really cynical. Puts his hand on the ball whilst the ruck was formed. Gets a yellow card. Finally, and then after this yellow card, the Springboks, Wildkard Smith gets the ball. He takes a quick tap. He gets tackled. It looked like he was tackled on the ground, but he rolls, puts the ball down. For some reason, this was not a double movement. I thought this was a bit weird. Maybe the referee had to balance out the cheating a little bit, but Wildkard Smith gets in for a try after rolling on the ground. And that's the way the game ended. 25 points to 17. The world champions slips on the banana peel once again. And happy days for me. Thanks for watching, guys. Thumbs down this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next week.